Working on installing a trailer hitch and wiring on my sister-in-law's Dodge Grand Caravan. Apparently the nut is broke off inside the frame.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story.
We picked up this 2-inch receiver trailer hitch and a wiring kit from eTrailer online. We're gonna see what it takes to get this installed. All right, so we are starting out by lowering the exhaust first. So there's a hanger on the exhaust, passenger side towards the front. And if we look up in there, there's bolts, and we got to remove to get the hanger down. So the bolt is a 13mm head. And you can see the bolt from right behind the tire here. So we're going to put that on the impact gun, get that lowered down, see if we can drop this exhaust down a little bit, give us some access to the hardware that holds the hitch on. So the hitch is bolted on using all pre-existing factory hardware. There's the bolt that drops out for the exhaust. We wiggle that down out of the way. Looks like we might have to get it a little lower yet. Let's find the next hanger. Okay, the next bolt is at the back of the muffler right up here. There's one going up to the body or to the frame, and then there's one at the other end of the muffler as well, which I already got. But I got the vehicle up, supported on a jack stand here, just trying to get this exhaust down, give me a little more working room. Ta-da! All right, now put the exhaust down and it lays right over the axle. We can get to factory hardware. So on either side there are the 2 bolts, and on the driver's side there's an additional 3rd bolt. So you got 1, 2, and then 3 that we have to take off. So the hitch bolts into place using all the existing hardware. So hopefully these come out of there. So the problem is that first bolt on the very back end of the car, apparently the nut is broke off inside the frame because the bolt's just spinning. The other ones all came out, but not that one. So now I got to figure out what I'm going to do. Oh boy. All right, so what I've had to do is use a die grinder and cut the head of that bolt off, and then push the remainder of the bolt up into the frame. And now I got to see if I can come up with a nut, fish it through that hole to get it over there, or maybe even pull the bolt in, fish it over there, and then put a nut on from the bottom. Either way, got to do what we got to do. It's not fun, but it has to be done. So the solution I found is I found this chunk of fairly heavy steel rod from I don't even know what. And I found this nut, which barely fits up through the egg-shaped slot that's in that frame rail. And then I found whatever the 10 grade marking metric bolt is. So it's equivalent to what I pulled out of there. Yeah, so my plan is to weld the rod to the side of the nut. That way I should be able to, if I weld the rod to the side of the nut like this, I should be able to fish it up in there, center the nut over top of the opening, and then bolt it on from underneath. And then the rod is thick enough, it should stop against the inside of the frame rail, allowing me to tighten the bolt to it without it spinning on me. So the key factor in this is going to be getting a good strong weld between that rod and that nut. So that's what's up next. And so with a well-placed couple of tacks, we now have a nut on a stick hopefully we can get that nut on a stick up in that slot and keep moving forward with our project. So with a little careful planning, we got that thing up in there. See the nut up in there? You can see the stick in there. Now we got to lift the trailer hitch into place. We'll get it bolted with the other bolts loosely, and then try to get this last one lined up and put together. Okay, so see if we can get these bolts installed, I guess. Trailer hitch up on my chest. You're trying to like hold the hitch with the bolt through the hole already so that you can guide it up into where it needs to be. Run out of arm strength very quickly. And the new bolt into the new nut on the stick. Trying to be super gentle, getting that nut to start. Can't push up on it because you don't want to push the nut out of the way. And we got it. Nice. Nice. All right. Now we'll tighten these things up. And again, I'm going to do that new one last, the custom one. Uh-oh. Starting to sprinkle. Hurry up and slide under here and get our exhaust bolted back up. So we don't have to get too wet. Alright, all of our exhaust bolts are back in place. And phase one of the project is all done. Trailer hitch installed, exhaust bolts back in place. Just verified clearance to the muffler to the hitch, make sure it's not going to rattle around. Everything's tightened up. Now it's time to move on to the wiring portion. So they picked up this Hopkins, supposed to be direct plug and play style, part number 41995 harness. It comes with some zip ties, little cap for the end. This must be the type that requires us to run a power. Oh, joy. All right, well, let's see what we can do here. Okay, so in order to install the wiring harness, we need to pull out the taillights, get to the plugs in behind the taillights. Got to run a wire from one side to the other of the taillights, run in a ground screw, and then a power. Now, some may or may not agree with my theory, but that's okay. It's America and you're free to do that. There is a 12-volt power source on the driver's side rear interior panel, right up there by the middle row of seats. I am going to tie my 12-volt power supply wire into that. That powers the module for the trailer lights, and we'll make sure that you don't get the tail light warning or brake light warning on the dash. So I've already removed this kind of jack panel here, and we're going to pop these lights out, get this harness ran. So a couple of 10 millimeter bolt heads right here on the inside. I was able to get my fingers behind that and with a firm pull straight back, dislodge these 2 clips that lock into the quarter panel there. And now we need to unplug the original taillight to tie in the new harness. With the taillights removed, you can see I've got our trailer light harness deal plugged in the 1 plug, and then with the yellow wire, yellow is left, the green wire with the split T goes to the passenger side, right side taillight. So I literally just drop that down through the bottom. We're gonna run it across, run it back up in the other side, get it plugged into place. Okay, so I fished the wire across underneath. We'll have to get under there and zip tie it all up, but now I plugged the T connector in. So got it in line here between the factory harness and the taillight. We'll get this tucked back together, fasten this taillight back into place, and then start working on routing the rest of the wiring. On the inside of the car where I removed that panel, there was a secondary little piece of foam, which is to the pressure release vent here. Releases cabin pressure when you shut the doors of the car. I pushed the wire through that vent and it comes out right here behind the bumper cover. We're going to tie that wire in to our taillight converter here. So we'll tie these wires together. I'm going to cut off this regular butt connector and put an insulated one on there, the heat shrink style, so it'll have a good solid weatherproof connection. And then we need to drill a very small hole and ground the taillight converter back here. And then we're going to take the light harness and we'll run that down to the trailer hitch and get it zip tied up near the trailer hitch so that it's down there and accessible. So you push the wire down through here, then you can tuck it behind these brackets that the bumper has that kind of keep the shape of the back bumper. So we're just kind of fishing that 4-way flat harness along in the same area that I fished the green turn signal wire going to the other side. So just get this pushed across, and then we can tie it up near the trailer hitch, and we'll zip tie it all so it's secure. Hopefully it won't work out too bad. So we laid underneath the car. The wiring is all zip tied nice and tight up behind the bumper cover. And then you can see we routed that 4-way flat harness. You can kind of see the loop there. I actually wrapped it all the way around the receiver opening one time. And then they come with this little cover. I put in dielectric grease, which I put in the plugs, and then use the loop of the cover to kind of hold it there, so hopefully it won't get dragged down the ground. Now we'll move on to running that power supply wire, and we'll be just have to test it. So you can see that I got that red wire ran in through that opening through the vent. We've tucked it behind this passenger side, or driver's side, I'm sorry, rear inner panel. And then we are coming out here where the power supply was. Now, I was able to pull that out using my beloved fork tool. It has metal clips, which were very difficult to get popped loose. I was scared that I was going to break it, but they do come out. Nothing too catastrophic. But once I got that snapped out, now we'll do some testing and verify which wire we're going to tie into and get her hooked up. With a quick test to verify, we are grounding to the body of the 12-volt power supply, and we are probed into the blue wire on the back of that, and we have voltage. So we need to tie into the blue wire on the back side of that power supply. We will be all done.